Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Coffee and Headlines. Here we are, one more day, one more week, sharing news from our city, our state, and our country, sharing comments, ideas, and suggestions that you have on how to enjoy ourselves here in Puerto Vallarta as a community of English-speaking locals. And it is good to be here. It is Saturday, June 18, and as always, we welcome all of you to tell us what you're up to, what you've been up to, or what you have planned for the weekend. Today we have all kinds of fun news and interesting news. And what else do we have? We have, oh my gosh, yesterday, okay, I had two fun adventures this week. I don't know which one you want to hear about, or if you even want to hear about them or not. I had my first whiskey sour. That's adventure number one. And the other one is I turned down an invitation to save brown people. Yes, there is a revolution going on, apparently, of Canadians and Americans that are here to try to save us brown people. So it was an interesting week for me. I turned that down, of course, because I could use some saving myself. So if you want to hear about whiskey sour, write whiskey sour. If you want to hear about brown people, write brown people. Otherwise, I have shitloads of information that I want to share with you. But first, as always, if you are new to this broadcast, please feel free to let us know by writing the word new, and I'll be happy to orchestrate a little welcome with the rest of the cluster. We'll give you a nice little welcome. If you have something truly important, oh, Christy wants to know about brown people. Fair enough. If you have something truly important that you want to hear about, or you want to share with us, or questions that are really, yes, brown people, Doug. Haven't you heard of all the people that come here from other countries that want to save the brown people? It's happening. If you have something really important that you want to, yes, brown people, seriously. I think it's so funny. It happened to me in Cuba, I must confess. But enough of that. Right now, let's go through the motion. Let's go through the business. And then we'll talk about brown people and this obsession that some foreigners have to come to Mexico and rescue us and save us. Doesn't affect me, but I'm fascinated by it. And I can tell... Joey says, I, brown person, and I'm not offended. You know, it's not a matter of being offended. I'm not offended either, but do we need saving? We've been brown all our lives. We've been brown for centuries. And, well, anyhow, we'll get to brown people in a minute if it's that important to you. For the time being, let us get started with the news. And oh my God, I didn't realize you would be so interested in saving brown people. What do I know? Okay, so before we go to the brown people, we have important news to share, starting with, is that like bringing home a puppy? Let's start at the very beginning. A very good place to start. We start with news items about Highway 200, the superhighway, the mythical new superhighway from Guadalajara that has been in construction for a decade or so. The Federal Secretary of Communications and Transport have determined the construction company that will handle the final two missing stretches, which come up to about 55 kilometers, that are waiting to be finished so that the highway can open to the public. And the winner of the concession is a company called Mota and Gil. The company has a budget of 4,900 million pesos to do the job and is expected to finish the highway in 2 years, or so they say. 2 more years. I'll believe it when I see it. The second one is more present and real. The second item of interest is that authorities have announced that the portion of highway from La Cruz de Guanacaxtle to Sayulita will be partially closed for traffic for 5 days starting this coming Monday from 7 p.m. to 6 a.m. So if you use the highway during the daytime, you should be okay. Vehicles can choose to use the alternate route through the highway that goes to Punta Mita from La Cruz de Guanacaxtle and comes this way, and then goes up to Higuera Blanca and then to Sayulita. So here is the portion where they're going to be working on. So if you have any traveling to do through the highway, you may want to consider this and plan accordingly. Next on our list of things to share, there are 4 new confirmed cases of monkeypox in Puerto Vallarta, 2 of which were present at the original source of infection at Mantamar, 1 who had contact with visitors from Las Vegas, and a 5th one, a visitor from Sweden. So it's 4 cases plus the 1 that already left. The patients are all in stable condition, according to this news report, and in isolation. Of course, it's easy for us to start getting concerned about this, and to prevent people from getting their panties in the usual place. I forget if it's in a TC, in a bunch, but you know how that goes. Jalisco's Secretary of Health has begun deploying informational posts in social media indicating that the disease is not as contagious as the other kind of pox. It is spread by open wounds, body fluids, breath droplets, and items such as bed sheets that have been exposed. In addition, the government of Jalisco has created a landing page with all the information you need to know about monkeypox, arguing, and rightly so, that lack of information is the most dangerous virus. Again, this is not something that is highly contagious, and from what I've read, it's people recover from it, and it's not a big deal, not as big deal as we would like it to, we would think it to be. So, if you're having concerns about monkeypox, maybe have a whiskey sour, and I'll tell you all about those in a second. We have one more before the weather. The Federal Attorney for the Protection of the Environment, or PROFEPA. Am I buffering again? I think I am in sync, but keep me posted on that. Anyhow, PROFEPA has confiscated the tiger we reported sauntering around the town in Nayarit because the owners did not have the proper authorization to own it. And good for PROFEPA. You know, people should not have wild animals in captivity if they don't have a good reason to have them. Let us now turn over to the weather just to see what's going on in our surroundings for the next few days. I swear I had nothing to do with Triumph, the insult comic dog, getting arrested for unlawful entry at the U.S. Capitol. No comment, but I've been watching too. It is 26 degrees right now, feels like 30 degrees. Humidity is a nice, lovely 97%. We are enjoying 79 degrees of Fahrenheit warmth. And our weather forecast for today says possible light rain in the morning, starting again in the evening with a high of 30 and a low of 24. Tomorrow, Sunday, possible light rain in the evening with a high of 30 and a low of 24. And we start the week with rain overnight with a high of 30 and a low of 24. What do you mean I am out of sync? Am I out of sync again? Oh, yes. Okay. No, I'm not. Now I'm not out of sync anymore. Or I hope I wasn't. Or maybe I was, but I seem to be fine now. Anyhow, moving right along, of course, we had a disturbance in the force as far as the weather is concerned, and that disturbance in the force is called Celia, as in Celia, as in Celia Cruz, as in azúcar. I don't know why they called her Celia. But we have a new tropical storm in the Pacific Ocean, and the name is Celia. As of right now, it is just chugging along the coast and bringing increased rains to the states of Tabasco, Chiapas, and Quintana Roo. Soon enough, it will get closer and it will affect us. So we'll keep track of her whereabouts moving forward. Now, check this out. This is super interesting. There is such a thing as a Tracy Lee Stum, and she is an artist. She is a master of 3D anamorphic art. Tracy Lee Stum's work has transformed walls and sidewalks around the globe. She's a former Guinness World Record holder. Her passion for imagination and play shines through in interactive 3D murals where visitors can step into fantastic and magical worlds. Why am I mentioning this? Because she has museums, or she has opened a museum in the United States. What do you mean the image can't be loaded? Um, okay, while the web browser is trying to do its thing, what I'm trying to tell you is that she is coming to Puerto Vallarta, according to this news note, and there's going to be a museum, a 3D painting museum installed in Puerto Vallarta this summer. It is coming to Colonia Emiliano Zapata, but there is no specific information as to whether it's going to be a permanent installation or what. And I can't get the page to load now, but I did see a page on her website earlier that showed that a new museum of hers is coming to Puerto Vallarta. So that should be cool, particularly if she partners with local muralists to get the work done. From what I read briefly on the website, she seems to collaborate with local artists to do her work. So it'll be fun to keep track of this. It's supposed to come in July. So we'll keep you posted on that one. To wrap things up, I have a few events that I snatched from YouTube, not from YouTube, from Facebook that I want to share with you. Of course, we know that we are fans of Los Cuentos Tap Room because it's a small little venue here near Versalles in Colonia Díaz Ordaz that features the locally brewed beer of Los Cuentos and delicious bite-sized edibles that are inspired in Oaxacan cuisine. And apparently Los Cuentos is unveiling a new pale ale today called Tlaloc. Tlaloc, of course, is the Aztec god of rain. So I think it's very timely that this is happening. And I mentioned this not only because a new beer sounds like fun, but I also read elsewhere that Los Cuentos has a promotion going on such that if you sit there and enjoy one of their beers, hold on just a second. Oh, that was a good cough. Thank you. If you hang out at Los Cuentos Tap Room and you buy one of their beers, they will offer you a free bite-sized treat to that goes well, that marinates well with the beer. And of course, we've gushed about the food and the beers at Los Cuentos. So if you are in the neighborhood and you wish for a locally brewed beer experience in an air-conditioned environment, this would be a good choice for you. And as long as we're talking about fun events, I might as well start bringing this one up. First Saturdays at the museum is coming up on Saturday, July 2nd. I am going to be there with bells on. I'm really looking forward to going back. because I had so much fun in the first one. Of course, that same night, I have tickets for a play, Puerto Vallarta's original and one and only and most successful cult play, Princesas Desesperadas, which is now being presented at Encanto, which means that Encanto has reopened their theater space downstairs. I would tell you more about Princesas Desesperadas, but it is a play in Spanish. I don't know how much you want to know about it, but feel free to write the word princess in the show notes, and I'll tell you about this one instance in which if I could give you a pill that would let you understand Spanish for 3 hours, I would want you to take that pill right before a presentation of this play, which has sold out just about every performance they have had for the last, oh my God, 6, 8 years. I forget how long they've been doing Princesas Desesperadas. But moving right along, as you know, we had the LGBT plus get together at Whiskey Kitchen, and I ran into Carmen Porras there. We talked about the beautiful t-shirt she was wearing, and she also revealed to me that she has a chile en nogada cooking class coming up. Um, and this is coming up on July 11th. It's a Monday morning from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. It's 1,700 pesos per person, but I understand, or at least I think that's what she said to me. I had had a couple of cocktails, that Coffee and Headlines friends will have a special price, but I wanted to put that out there in case you want to learn how to make Mexico's emblematic, most traditional dish, which is chiles en nogada, which are served room temperature or cold, but yeah, room temperature more often than not. And I have one more. What was this? Oh, yes, yes. Of course, it is Paul McCartney's 80th birthday, and my future ex husband, Joshua Bell, the wonderful violinist that lives in New York City, has shared a beautiful version of Eleanor Rigby in his Facebook wall. And of course, I love the music that Joshua Bell makes. I love the music composed by Paul McCartney. So I'm going to share that with you just because we can. So this brings us to the comments. La 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 la. Let us start from the beginning. Okay, let's see. Lots of good mornings. Lots of good mornings. Dave, it keeps getting hijacked by conference calls. I am sorry to hear that. But I know that you're looking forward to your next trip, and that should be a lot of fun. Mihal, I have to tell you, girl. Well, I have to tell everyone before I tell Mihal. I am house sitting Mihal's plants, 3 plants through the summer. And 2 of the plants, one is a pothos, and the pothos is doing just fine. It's like mellow. It's like, just water me whenever you can. I can handle it. But 2 of the other plants have a serious drinking problem. But now that I understand that they're water junkies, they're doing fine. And I just thought you would want to know your plants are doing great. Let's see what else we have. Lots of mornings, lots of mornings. Whiskey sour, yum. Yes, yes, I had my first whiskey sour. Thank God I didn't discover these before, because I think that my liver would have a major problem, or my guts, or wherever your body goes wrong when you drink too much. But the night I was at Whiskey Kitchen, Gina gifted me this concoction, which is a whiskey sour in a bottle. She said to me, just add ice cubes. And I said to her, well, do I drink a lot or a little of this? She said, just add ice cubes. So I came home with this bottle of whiskey sour mixture. And last night I was hooking with my yarn, of course. And I got thirsty, and it was hot, and I made myself my very first whiskey sour by just putting ice cubes in a glass and pouring some of this chingadera, and it was absolutely wonderful. And that is my whiskey sour story. Brown people, how can I talk about rescuing and saving brown people without ruffling your feathers? Um, there are people that come here from other countries with the best intention to save us all from poverty. And that's lovely. It is great to see that people choose to do that. I try to stay away from the whole nonprofit save the brown people business because some people do it in an orderly fashion. And what I mean by orderly fashion, I mean they understand the problematic of our country and are joining forces with established groups, organizations, and methods to create prosperity and goodness here. And some people just come here with shitloads of toys during Christmas time and they sit down at the Malecon and they gift them away. Power to you, but I don't know that that's the best way to help things out. And the reason I bring this up is because, yes, I was invited to be part of a new revolution of Americans and Canadians that are going to save um, Mexicans from poverty. And that's just not for me. That's just not for me. I appreciate the good intentions that some people have, but it's not it's not for me, and I said so accordingly, and that's the end of that. It's a delicate issue. You know, you cannot just arrive in another country and pretend you know everything about it and try to do things your way or the way you used to do things elsewhere. And I've experienced that myself. I remember when I went to Cuba, I felt the need to connect with locals and I felt the need to develop a friendship with a local and I felt the need to transform a local. And no matter how hard I tried to befriend someone, I just failed. And I've come to realize that maybe it was just not my place. You know, people have been living the way they live for a long time, and and again, I don't mean to create a big source of discussion or exchange of ideas here about this, but it is a delicate issue. If there are out there people doing good deeds, I think it's wonderful, and I do good deeds whenever I can. And I know of other people that do good deeds on their own. But to come here and say I have the solution and I'm going to save a bunch of brown people, have fun. That's all I have to say. Uh, let's see what else. Yes, Doug said, is that like bring home a puppy? Well, it depends. Some people do it very nicely, and in other people, I don't want to get started with that. Uh, Save brown people from what? If it is idiots, we all need to be saved from them. No comment, but I totally agree. Um, let's see what else we have. Kathy, my favorite nurse, not Norse, nurse. Hello, Kathy. The main concern with monkeypox is that we don't want it to manage to make the jump to animals, as that way there will be a permanent reservoir of the virus, and that means it will always be a problem as it moves back and forth from animals to people. Interesting. I didn't know that. But again, I'm choosing not to get my panties all misconfigured over this one, and I recommend we all do that. Let us try whiskey sours instead. Um, oh, that is that is an obscure comment, Mark. As a pretend doctor, I can tell you that if you have a desire to throw shit at tourists, you probably have monkeypox. Fascinating. I trying to picture this visually, and I absolutely cannot. Let's see. Bronica says the 3D business sounds like fun. Uh, Whiskey old fashioned is another big one right now. I made like 300 of them last Sunday at an event, DT Minneapolis. Mark, let's hang out. Let's hang out more when you come back. Linda says, interested in the cooking class where it's going to take place at Oculto, Linda, and I'm going to have all the information in the show notes as usual. Oculto is the private secret dinner location where Carmen and her wife Claudia host wonderful, intimate, safe events for groups of friends and uh, their cooking classes, which are absolutely wonderful. Uh, Thank you, Plant Whisperer. It's my pleasure. But then Mark says, are you the plant assassin? I am totally plant murderer. So I don't know how I ended up accepting to care for Mihal's plants, but all of a sudden I found myself in my house with these plants, and I've endeavored to not let them die, and that's exactly what is going to happen. Uh, Ooh, Brian had his first close encounter with a croc close to the Oasis del Holy. Mazel Tov. That is amazing. It happens. They are everywhere. They are everywhere. Let's see what else we have. Ramona says, I strongly agree with you about saving the brown people. I choose to help who I feel needs help. Um, who says brown people? No words. I say brown people because I am brown. And that's the only reason why I would say brown people, because I am brown. I would never refer to people as brown if I wasn't brown. And that is the only reason why I said it. I did not mean any offense or insult, but there are some brown people like myself. There are some Mexican nationals that really tend to, like, we do this. When somebody comes in and wants to save us, we do this. Yes. Yes. Or we go, oh, pues, here you go again. Um, and Aaron chimes in. The term white savior is a sarcastic or critical description of a white person who is depicted as a liberating, rescuing, or uplifting non-white people. It is critical in the sense that it describes a pattern in which third world peoples are denied agency and are seen as passive recipients of white benevolence. Thank you. Thank you. And that's exactly what it is. And it is a sarcastic depiction or critical depiction. I think there's a lot of people here in this town, all with great intentions, but their methodology sometimes is just curious to watch. And again, I don't want to turn this into a big topic of agreement and disagreement and whatnot. But thank you, Aaron, because thank you for Googling that. Or I don't know if you just wrote that out of your head. You're extremely eloquent, and I love that. But that is essentially what happens, and it's got its good things and it's got its not so good things. End of discussion. If somebody comes to me and talks to me about nonprofit pursuits and things like that, I want to know that it's a well-established agency. I want to know that it's a legally established nonprofit. I want to know that their paperwork and their accounting is in check. And even in the best organizations, shit happens. So when somebody just comes in and says to me, well, we're doing this and we're doing a PayPal. No, no, no. Oh, Heather adds, someone who comes here to help perhaps unknowingly do it in service of their egos, which is clear to observers but not to them. Rather than take the time to watch, listen, and learn from the locals as to what is truly needed, they barge ahead, come hell or high water, sometimes causing devastating outcomes they refuse to anticipate. Thank you, Heather. Thank you. Heather is another English-speaking local that has been around longer than me, and certainly long enough to understand that while the intentions are good, the methodology, not always. Then Linda sends an image that we're not going to open right now because we cannot, but thank you. We'll look at that in a little while. And let's see. There's a great Spanish rye whiskey at Chedraui, very inexpensive and tasty, in a New Yorker rye, lime juice, and grenadine. See, that's the problem, Brian. I'm a happy rum and coke guy. I don't know that I want to learn. I don't know that I want to learn much about new cocktails at home because I get boozy enough as it is. I'm happy with my red wine, and I'm happy with my with my rum and coke. Exactly, Gary. Brown people, oh pues, yes, oh pues, which we established is the verbal and written instance of this. Oh pues, yes. But hey, be and let be. And that's what I think. Thank you. Thank you all for joining me today. This was a lot of fun. It is always a lot of fun. But today was a lot of fun, and I really am appreciative of that. I hope you have a great weekend. I hope you, oh my God, rum and cherry Dr. Pepper. Patty, I tell you, I love you, community, because you all, I always end up with great ideas to try and check out after I spend some time with you, and that never gets old, and it always gets better. Thank you all for being a part of Coffee and Headlines. It really means a lot to me. Have a great weekend. Stay out of trouble. Don't go saving any brown people this weekend. Go drinking whiskey sours instead, and stay in touch.